So, class, what type of champions other than bruisers do really, really well in an event like this?
Assassins.
Let's get more specific. Yeah, let's get more specific.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's tier list it out.
I would say like CC, budget mid laners, like random, fuzzy champion. I want to hear more gasping. Kiana.
What do you think is gonna 1v9? Yeah.
Trin, Set,
Nunu. I've seen Nunu in the mid lane.
So let's see what we got.
Characters that are good at the late game, so like Vayne maybe.
Okay, Vayne. What else?
This is like a hypothetical situation where everybody's autofilled and we're all just
Yeah, we're
building a
winging it. You're
comp
trying to
based on-
win.
and
You're
we're
trying to
just winging
win. Yeah, you're trying to win. You're trying to move on to the next round.
Graves.
it. I have
Wukong, Silas, Aatrox.
Ezreal.
Ash.
Diego.
Ezreal's super safe and scales super well.
All right, that's good enough right now. Okay, let's go down the list here. All right, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to give you guys ideas of how to view the game, and this is a pretty good way to to think about League. Now, one of the common things that we get when we start doing you know, solo queue or whatever, you get people complaining about Smurfs, complaining about lobbies being mismatched, yada yada yada. All right, so the reason I made this list is to have you guys think about what's going to give you the best chance to win a game and what champions are going to likely win you a game in an event like this. So let's go down this random list of champions you guys selected and let's do a group vote. Do we think that Nunu is going to be good for carrying in a random team, a random elo environment?
The only reason I said Nunu is because of his smite advantage, honestly, for the buffs and Baron and Dragon.
I feel like,
I'm feeling like pretty 50-50 on Nunu. If I'm like,
he's a simple champion.
if I'm in like bronze or something, I'm not gonna be. I could probably carry with Nunu, but I'd rather play somebody that can deal damage. I guess honestly, like can probably split push and win any 1v1 in that situation, or attract attention.
Yeah, needs damage, good CC, objective control. Probably not if we're a
LP,
jungle
easy
main.
clear.
Yeah. If we're a jungle main, probably, and we're in this tournament and we main jungle, and we have some options. Probably not going to take Nunu though, right? Because at the end of the day, if we're trying to advance in this thing and we're trying to move on, or we're trying to win a solo queue match with random people, if we need to carry, this isn't going to be it. All right, Tryndamere in a random elo, random roles tournament. If you could pilot Tryndamere, what do we think?
Definitely.
He can carry pretty well.
Definitely can carry, right?
Definitely.
Game's
Yeah,
gonna.
diamond below at least, yeah.
Why can he carry? What about this type of event? What type of conditions in this event means that this champion's gonna be able to carry?
He's always gonna be pulling people in the side lane.
Mobility, damage, vulnerability.
Yeah. He's got mobility.
Sustain. He's got
pretty
a lot
good
of
escape,
sustain.
high damage. Yeah.
His game plan is
Just ignore my spelling here. So
He's hard to deal with.
there's a couple things that you guys are missing. Well, there's one thing that I really want to hammer home.
Split push. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So these
a totally
games-
random team.
Yes, these games are going to be a mess, right? And the reason that I'm even talking about this tournament is I think it's a fun little exercise in terms of viewing the game. But like at the end of this thing, we're going to be doing this. It's going to be uncoordinated messes. You guys are about to, when we do this, it's going to be very similar to what Riot has always talked about, how they don't reset the ranks because of the games being wonky for the first couple months, right? While everybody finds their true elo. So like a tournament like this, uncoordination is going to be the biggest factor, right?
Yeah, that's huge. I feel like we've all played that game versus Trend. If you've played ranked in League of Legends in the past, or, you know, like ever, you've played.
You mean every game?
Where your team has no idea how to deal with it.
They're just chasing him across the map, and the other members of his team are just splitting bot or splitting mid or getting him an objective.
Yeah, he's just gonna be stuck in the side lane, E out as soon as like he attracts attention, and then like clear jungle, and then come back to the lane when the.
Now here's the question: Can anybody play Tryndamere?
No.
Okay, so not everybody can play Tryndamere.
Yeah,
Why?
he's got a skill floor, but he's not extremely hard.
Yeah.
To get like the I mean he has a skill ceiling, but I don't know, a few games on Trynd and you're going to be able to actually do work with him. You know, he's not like a Yasuo or something, or Kiana.
So if we wanted the champion that we get thrust into top lane, right? And we're like, shit, all right, I'm in this tournament. All right, what champions are we looking at, guys?
Garen can be hard to deal with. He can snowball super hard. He's super easy to play. People can't deal with him. He's similar to Trynd. He's almost like an easier Trynd, honestly. Perspective, but,
Darius?
Nasus.
Maybe Nocturne.
Okay, so
yeah.
Maybe like
Let's-
Warwick. We were talking about it
let's start with this right here. Let's start with this list. All right, so Garen. So we're saying that Garen will probably be pretty good in an uncoordinated environment. I'd say yeah. It's not bad. Like he definitely has split push potential if he gets fed. He can definitely survive some whack lanes. I think it's a decent pick. Wukong, if you're pure autofill, not so sure. The reason why is because Wukong sounds good on paper, but then the player that has to play Wukong has to be confident enough to go in, right?
Yep.
And then he's gonna get bullied a lot in lanes, so probably not. Darius, I would say Darius probably a little bit more technical.
I agree with that too.
Yeah, he's gotta be able to auto attack reset. He's got kind of a weird mechanic. I don't know how many of y'all have played Darius. He's got a very weird mechanic with his Q, the little circle. It makes sense.
Q.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes sense when you're on the opposite side.
deceptively
Yeah.
difficult.
When you play him, when you're on the like receiving end of it, it makes sense. You're like, oh, it's a Q, I'll dodge it. But when you go to play him and actually like try to like tether people properly, it gets a little weird. Malphite, I'd say yeah.
I agree. Yeah, definitely yes.
If you're auto-filled top in this thing, guys, I think
wins a lot of
Malphite's
matchups,
yeah.
Just
He beats a
easy
lot
win.
of bruisers, a lot of bramble rushes, a lot of tabby rushes.
He
and-
will tilt. He can tilt some top mains off the face of the earth. Honestly, dude. Like if you're a Fiora main or something, that attack speed
Yeah.
slow. Oh my god, dude. And he one-shots
Nasus-
ADCs as a full tank. So
Nasus, man, I don't think so.
I think
autofill
Nasus is
top?
easy to deal with, but he's easy to play. He's like a Garen in that sense. All you have to do is Q and stuff. But I feel like he's just, I don't know. He's easier to deal with than the rest of the champions. He's super easy to kite compared to everyone else, in my opinion.
So Nasus probably not because it's a little shaky. Nocturne is, depending on how confident you are, could be. I mean, I'm still kind of confused on this one. His lane phase did get nerfed pretty hard with the passive nerf.
I've never played Nocturne before, but I played him like top and mid a few times. Just like first time, picked him up, and like I won lanes. Like it's easy. He's easy. Like well, this is before the passive nerf, but like you would do damage without even realizing it. You would just like walk up and like poke the enemy laner and heal up like to full health, and like it's impossible to trade with him if you don't have a way to escape the fear. So I think
What do you think about Set?
For Set, what I would say is, if you want to play Set, I think he's pretty strong. And I think that he has I think that the difficult part with this champion comes on whether or not that he has the capability to hit his W. If you're the type of champion that hits W, or if you're the type of player that hits W with the Set reliably, then he's pretty good. He's pretty solid. He's reliable. But if you're the type of person that chokes with that W or doesn't know how to flash W, you're going to lose a lot of value with the champion. And it's not going to be it's not going to give you a very, very good result.
I think it has a skill cap regarding being able to make sure that you have actually a minion behind you, being able to hit the other person on the other side as well, landing the W at the same exact time while they're stunned, so that you make sure you end up getting that true spot. Like I feel like there's more skill involved there.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like the combo, like the E, the EW? Yeah. Let's go through a list here. Champions you would play if you were auto-filled mid. So let's imagine you guys don't know shit about mid, okay? And let's pretend that we are auto-filled to this lane. Or let me rephrase this. Let's pretend that you're trying to pick champions for people that don't play mid.
Ziggs.
All right, let's make the list.
Pantheon's definitely one I'd choose.
I heard
as well.
Pantheon. What else?
Annie?
Garen's a pretty good.
All right, autofilled top. Are we playing Zed ever? Or no, sorry, autofilled mid. Yeah, autofilled mid. We playing Zed ever?
No, I would not suggest Zed. He's got a really high skill floor.
Ziggs. We playing Ziggs ever?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you know positioning well enough, he can just like regular positioning. He can
Probably not.
constantly.
If you've ever played a mage,
Yeah, no, I wouldn't.
Hard to get away with the E. Not very mobile.
yeah, you just gotta
He
be
is
safe,
hard.
but he shreds turrets, man. Like he's
That's true.
insane pressure, super easy pressure.
So I would say on the Ziggs pick, I think this one could be pickable if you're autofilled, but at the same time, I think players autofilling and playing poke champs is always very, very sus. It's very like, I feel like it gets players in a lot of trouble when they try to play stuff like this, because then it becomes this issue of they get farmed by players that outskill them. We can say it's safe or whatever, but I find generally speaking, once lane phase ends, they're gonna have a really hard time ever leaving their tower. So I'm kind of 50-50 on this one. I'm not really sold on the idea of like, okay, let's just have newbies picking Ziggs in mid and then throwing little bombs around, because normally what winds up happening is, since Ziggs has nothing reliable in his kit, think about it, guys. There's nothing reliable here, right? You can't guarantee me that this newbie player is going to hit a Q. You can't guarantee me newbie player is going to hit a W, an E, or an R. So it's very, very dangerous when newbies get a hold of this champion. What about Pantheon?
Pantheon's a solid choice in my opinion. He's super easy to navigate, and he's got CC, he's got defense and disengage, and he has an execute and a return to lane, or like good roam.
Sorry, I think being able to use a spear stab correctly though is something that people probably might not know if you're just picking him out of the blue.
I would say I agree. I kind of like you guys' arguments too. These are some decent arguments. Pretty easy to hit stuns with him, right? He's gonna be able to farm, like, so let's use an example. Let's say that two players are autofilled to mid, right? It's a gold player versus a gold player, and they're both autofilled to mid and they have no experience on mid. I would wager that if a guy picks Pantheon and somebody picks something else, Pantheon player is gonna come out top. Don't you guys agree?
Yeah, he's got
at least in the lane phase. Yeah. Because and then think about the early 2v2s as well. Like, or just early scuttle fights in general.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You rotate off the
100%.
lane. Yeah,
Point
you run
click
off the
stun.
lane and they just press W, and yeah, the stab's a little janky, I guess. But at the end of the day, like, think about that. You guys have to think, when you think about agency and impact and all these things, what happens when the lane ends, right? So you're a noob, you don't know what you're doing, and the lane phase ends. You're gonna run around the map with Pantheon. You're guaranteed to at least be kind of useful because of your W, even if you're an idiot, right? Because you hit a W, you're on the board. You're probably gonna get a setup for somebody. So I think a yes. What are we thinking about Annie?
Annie's
awesome.
I think, yeah, their last hitting's so good with the Q. Like, it's, yeah.
Auto range from turret to turret mid lane.
People can abuse you when you don't have your stun up. I find that issue myself whenever I play Annie mid. I just get abused without my stun.
I think she's way too short range with all her spells for somebody to play well without really understanding like positioning well. Like, she's really, really short range. So if you're against anybody who can abuse that, and you don't position correctly, you'll just get stomped on, depending on who you're fighting against.
remember the situation though, because I think it's a yes. I think it's a hard yes. I think it's the hardest yes that we've gotten so far. And the reason why is it comes down, someone said farming, that's a good one. But there's reliable CC that's pretty much impossible to miss. What you guys need to do, what you guys have to make it for calculations is, can we guarantee, can a noob play it and do something accidentally? Right?
Yeah.
Idiot proof.
Yeah.
Annie is definitely idiot proof.
Can I accidentally be useful if I'm just an idiot and I've never played League? Can I accidentally be useful? This is why I rate Ziggs probably no after thinking about it. The more I think about it, I'd probably say no. Because it's the same thing. Like, if we put an idiot in mid versus another idiot in mid, and idiot plays Ziggs and idiot plays Annie, I would wager, even if Ziggs kills the Annie a couple times, I would wager after lane phase, the idiot's gonna get more done. The Annie idiot. The exact.
Can I make a point about Ziggs? I think with his passive, like if you happen to win a team fight and you have a Ziggs on your team, you can win games off of like late game team fights that you wouldn't normally be able to win because he clears turrets and objectives faster than most champions.
The reason why I just generally don't like the thought of Ziggs getting down the turret is because that assumption is made, or that scenario that we think in our head is made if specifically we generally ended up winning a fight, or we're strong enough in a position where we can actually get to the point that we can end up taking down the turrets. But if we have an idiot Ziggs who cannot land any of his Qs or Ws or Es in a team fight, he will never get to that position.
And that's something that I really want to hammer on tonight with this, and this is why I'm doing this little exercise, is because I'm trying to get you guys to think about and view the game a little differently, and that way you'll start seeing comps and it'll start making more sense what's going on and how you can play off of these circumstances. Is Fizz ever getting anything done here?
No.
I kind of say no to assassins for Autofilled, honestly.
Yeah, he's high skill cap or skill 4 in my opinion.
Yeah, he's one of the easier assassins. He has like a really nice escape and everything, but
he's a nice escape using the troll pole.
Yeah, no CC.
Empowered.
He does have pretty good pick potential with his ultimate though.
Yeah,
but it's all conditional.
It's not guaranteed. Yeah.
So Garen, can we play Garen as a newbie mid? I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
In some matchups,
yeah.
I mean,
I think it goes back to what you said about Pantheon.
Okay.
That is true.
Yeah. You put two noobs in there and one of them's playing Garen. Garen's gonna win.
I don't know, man. Like I don't think
so either. I feel like Garen is kind of dependent on dodging skill shots in the mid lane.
I don't care. Garen is good, and here's 2 reasons why. One, his passive, he can health regen everything else where you take Doran Shield. And 2, his E has really good wave clear. You can push everything out, and you can roam and help your jungler on whatever crap or whatever objective he wants to go after.
That argument only holds like when you assume that this noob is gonna actually have the confidence to go in and trade heavy and come back, which requires first of all again closing the gap and dodging skill shots, and his farming would be kind of messed up again if he doesn't do that. Either he has to be very passive and give up a lot of farm in the mid and compromise his roam potential, or else he has to risk and go in try to dodge skill shots, and if it doesn't work out, I think it's just gonna why risk it basically.
No, I like this argument. I like this argument though. What he's saying, what he's saying is very accurate with Garen, right? I recommend Garen a lot in low elo because I figure that most players will be able to eventually you'll start off, you'll be bad at it, you'll learn to hit your farm, you'll learn to do an all-in, and then you'll try to all-in some people, and then hopefully that'll start clicking and you'll get better. But I want you guys to notice how he talked about the poke damage, kind of undermining the opportunity to roam. I think that's a really well said point, and it's something that I want you guys to realize. These champions with good sustain and everything are great. We take them into mid. If you try to play some shit like Garen in mid, that's all well and good, but understand that you can't just turn your brain off when you go mid and just farm. You have to make sure that you're dodging those abilities too. Otherwise, I don't know if it holds, but I do like some of these arguments, and I think overall, I'll give it the nod only if the noob is decent enough to Emax and start Doran Shield, right? The Emax just to kind of wave clear it out, right? And just kind of hold. And then later in the game, I do kind of agree, a silence is valuable. If a noob ever goes in with silence and W, if we can get the newbie to do that much, I think that's going to bring value in a tournament environment like that. I'm just picturing all these scenarios in my head where you've got unranked players to all the way up to diamond matched together. And there's a diamond player that just really wants to move on, but he's got the newbie Garen with him, and he's just begging, just spam pinging the Garen to go in. And if the Garen does the Q, the Q flash one time, the Garen could actually save a game. So I think that's pretty valuable. Okay, so Veigar, how are we feeling about Veigar?
Yes.
I think yes.
Okay,
I mean, if you
let's hear
can't
it.
do anything in the
not as
lane,
a
you could
first
at
pick.
least hit, just that cage. That's it. The entire game, just spam it, and
Yeah,
you're
your
gonna do
cage will bring
something.
utility. Like if you just pop it up in a team fight, it's gonna mess with people.
I feel like most
infinitely
people
scales.
will not. Most like other noobs in the other team will not be like well versed with using QSS or like other like tactics to like counter Veigar properly. And even if you're pretty bad, like game, like your enemy team doesn't know how to close the game, Veigar will scale just by existing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. Is as long as you go in there, you don't feed your laner.
Yeah,
you're going to hit at least 2 cages a game, and most games in silver and below are going to be 30 to 40 minutes. So you're going to be able to just R like one of the squishy guys.
So if I may ask, what would we see to be the biggest difference between, I guess, a Nasus and a Veigar, where both of them sort of suffer in the early game but become absolute monsters in the late game?
So that's a good question. That's a good question, and I agree. So it's like basically the reason why Nasus doesn't float, in my opinion, is because the Nasus has to get value from the late game. But can you guarantee me that a newbie with Nasus who's got like shitty farm and like isn't very confident, can we guarantee that Nasus is ever going to get the confidence to press R and like run at people? I don't really know if that's true, right?
Not properly.
Think about how the Veigar is going to play it, right? He's going to get pushed around early. He might get solo killed, yeah. But at the end of the day, if he has a teammate that can carry him, he's probably going to do what? Hug tower, right? He's going to turtle under tower and fall asleep. Every time you go near the tower, he's going to cage. And when the ARAM breaks out, and these games are going to be crazy when we do this little tournament thing, when the ARAMs break out, Veigar cage, whoever said like Veigar cage is valuable, I think that's dead right. I think that's a really annoying ability. Even for someone like myself who's been playing for a long time, it's a very annoying ability. It was annoying even in Pro Worlds last year. I don't know if you guys remember. It showed up in Worlds. Just because this cage was so damn strong. I think G2 did it a couple times.
A cooldown, even level 1.
The shape is so weird and it's so big. Why?
Yeah, it's like it's a very strange ability, and like it takes up so much air in the room. And I think I agree with you guys. I think you guys have sold me on this one. I wasn't so sure about it, but I think just because of that cage utility, if the newbie hugs tower and spams cage, I think there's value there. What about Malzahar?
Similar thing. I think his ult's always going to bring value. Dude, if there's like somebody out of control on the enemy team, if Malzahar, like if he has like half a brain, he'll start just like ulting them in a team fight, like, and that can like win team fights. You know, you take out the only fed champion on the enemy team or something, CC him for days, and dot him up.
His laning phase is like.
That brings
his laning phase is like so easy generally because you just use all your abilities. Or a new player would just use all their abilities, generally get most of the farm, and the other new player will probably have difficulty farming under tower because you push them under tower. So generally, I think that'd be good.
Not just that, but the enemy laner's not going to be able to roam because you're just going to be constantly shoving into him.
That's true. Yeah.
If the newbie knows to shove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of auto shove it.
You say that, but then I coach people. You say that, but then I coach people on Malzahar, and I have to like beg them to push the fucking wave.
That's true. Yeah. Me. Okay, I want to. When we talked about Garen mid, I think it made me realize something. If somebody's getting auto-filled somewhere, like one big thing you don't want them to be is a liability and like dying a lot, because that's hands down like one of the worst things. So I think like Garen. In champions that are safe, like I think Malzahar would kind of fit in that, maybe Veigar, maybe.
Depends on how they position it.
I think autofill, like you want to make sure they're playing a safe champion and not like getting run over by the jungler or like somebody that knows like how to take advantage of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, I guess.
So I would say Malzahar is probably a go, just because. Someone hit on the ult. I think the ult's just really high value, especially in a goofy tournament environment. The QSS tax, right? If a noob picks Malzahar, you got to pay $1,300 to kill the noob sometimes.
Well, that's true.
Right? That's a big deal. I think this is valuable, a very valuable thing. I think noobs could also get value. I know I didn't put him on this list up here, but I think the same thing about Mordekaiser actually. Similar concept. I would say that this would be a pretty easy one to play, just because you just kind of sit back and wait for your ult. And the same thing, you got to pay this tax to get out of the mortal. So if a a newbie is trying to luck out and keep moving on to the next round, he's probably going to want to buy, or he's probably going to want to go Malzahar because he just taxed all the Smurfs, right? All the better players. He just costs them. If the newbie can press R, he just costs all the better players $1,300. I think that is a very valuable thing. Yeah, straight up. Do we think that Anivia is auto-fillable for newbies?
Yeah.
Really? You guys all think that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think and her W can fuck up like her team. It's like a Bargold almost.
No, that's true.
Yeah, that's it. But there's more to it. I feel like the ultimate, although it's easy to wave clear, in the middle of team fights, there's many times where you might end up getting out of the range and the ult disappears because it's not that far that it could be used. It could end up forgetting to turn it off and then reposition. That I always end up screwing up. The Q is hard for you to end up landing when you first start, in my opinion. The W can end up screwing up the positioning of it, and she's really, really squishy.
Yeah,
whenever you have like Anivia and like the enemy team starts A-ramming down mid lane, right? You're freaking silver. They come down and there's a guy and he immediately leaps on the first guy that's right there, and you just press R and you wait like a second and press Q.
It's not that,
and that's the entire fight. Like she's gonna win every single time.
Yeah.
I despise
there's other
Anivia.
things that Anivia offers, like mid game to maybe late game. Like she has so much wave clear and so much CC that she kind of just stops anybody from jumping on the team if she's there, like in a team fight. Yeah, you could mess up the wall and you could split your team or whatever, but the ult is so big and it slows. And having a stun that's that long range, I don't know. I think it also.
I still get baited by her passive.
Team that.
Yeah, she's very safe.
She is safe
with her
passive somewhat. Yeah.
Also the mana consumption though, that's something else that I feel is difficult to deal with.
I haven't played Anivia since the rework, but I think I can take your word for it, guys, in the fact that like wave clear is very valuable. And if the noob knows to wave clear, which I hope by the end of the boot camp the noob knows the value of wave clear, then I think Anivia can work, and especially because of Egg. Egg is actually the bigger sell to me more than anything. We're gonna move on to support. I want my supports, people that are being quiet in here. It's time. Supports. We're auto-filled to support.